Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's Lunch with Haley. I am Brad Smith, Haley Marketing's Director of SEO and Social Media. I'll be talking today about blogging and how staffing firms can really leverage a blog to increase their sales efforts and improve recruiting. Before we jump into today's webinar, I wanted to do just a little bit of housekeeping. You'll notice on the right-hand side of your screen, hopefully there's an area for questions. I encourage you throughout the presentation to submit any questions you have. I'll try to answer some of these questions throughout today's webinar. And if I don't have time to answer everything, we will leave time at the end of today's webinar for a Q&A session. So please feel free to jot your questions down, enter them in the questions area, and we'll be happy to address those. Also, if you're looking for a link to download today's slides, you'll also see a chat area in the right-hand side with a link to download the slides, so we encourage you to do that. And then finally, we will be recording today's webinar and putting this up on the Lunch with Haley website. So in the next few days, there will be a full recording of this, so if any of your peers or anyone else you feel would find value in this, please feel free to share that link, and we will include that in an email after the presentation. So without further ado, let's jump into today's webinar. Again, we're going to be talking about blogging success, and not just blogging in general, but more specifically for staffing and recruiting firms. What can a staffing and recruiting firm do to drive more traffic to their website, increase their search engine presence, and really hone in on people that they want to reach, good prospects and good candidates? So we're going to cover real quickly what a blog is and why you should care. We'll look at how specifically you can use a blog to attract clients and attract candidates. We'll talk about improving search rankings with your blog. We'll talk about how to use blogging and content marketing to build stronger and deeper relationships with your clients and candidates. Hopefully this will help retain your best clients and help retain your best candidates. We'll look at ways that you can use blogging and content to become more of a partner to your clients. Instead of just being in the vendor space where you're dealing with markups, we want to position you as a partner, and content marketing and blogging can help you do this. We'll show you some tips on how to accelerate your social media marketing efforts with your blog and automate some things that you're doing right now. We'll look at the 5 key steps to get started. When I ask a lot of people why they're not blogging, basically it's because they don't know how to get started. We'll show you exactly how to get started. And then we'll wrap up today's webinar with some very specific case studies of other staffing and recruiting firms that are actively blogging right now, and we'll show you what the results look like. So we're going to start off by talking about what a blog actually is. So some people out there think a blog is just somebody talking about politics or somebody talking about food. It's much more than that. A lot of websites out there are actually built on blogging platforms. I think one of the most popular blogs there is the Huffington Post. It's actually a blog. It's not necessarily a newspaper or a news site. It is a blog, and it gets a ton of traffic. Some other examples here: Business Insider, the Ask Haley blog, Staffing Industry Analyst has a blog. And then in the lower right corner, you'll see a blog of one of our clients, a staffing and recruiting firm that includes a blog on their website. So a blog really is just a site or a section of a site that allows you to share updates, news, relevant articles, and relevant information for people that you're trying to target. So I want to look at blogging in 2012, and I get this question a lot. What blogging platform do you suggest using? And at Haley Marketing, we use WordPress as our blogging platform. We use it because it is stable. It has a lot of updates. Some of the most influential companies in the world use WordPress as their platform. And it has hundreds, if not thousands, of available plugins to help you do some truly amazing things. So again, the platform that we like is WordPress, and the majority of blogs out there right now are on WordPress. There are other sites like Blogger, Tumblr, Typepad, and some other platforms out there that are good platforms, but again, we're just comfortable with WordPress, and that's what we suggest using. If I look at stats, blogs are pretty prevalent across the web. On WordPress alone, there's 42 million blogs. 25 billion pages of blogs are viewed a month. Blogging and social media is now outpacing personal email for most amount of time spent online. So people are using these sources to communicate with peers. They're using it for a news gathering source. They're using it for entertainment, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. So these stats look great. I mean, we know there's a ton of people using blogs. We know there's a ton of blogs out there. So just looking at the numbers, it can look impressive, but really, why should you care as a staffing firm? What benefit would blogging have for a staffing firm? And I always like to refer to a study that Innovero did. Innovero is a research firm that specializes, part of their specialization is within the staffing industry. And they did a study on what people are looking for from their staffing provider. And they found that the most common source of information that your prospects use, and when I say prospects, I'm talking about potential employers and potential candidates. When they're evaluating your firm against your competitors, the first thing they're doing, the most popular thing they're doing, is looking at your website. Okay. When I look at most staffing firm websites out there, and I'm sure several of you are in this category and several of you aren't, but most staffing websites are simply a glorified brochure. And what I mean by that is that you have information that you'd include in your trifold brochure or in the handout that you give to people. You tell people about what your mission is. You give them maybe a little bit of history about your staffing firm. You overview your services. So you talk about temporary staffing, direct hire, temp to hire, maybe use the word contract to hire. You talk about a little bit of the value that you provide, and you probably wrap it up with your contact information and the types of positions you offer. Okay, this is all good information. People need to know this about your company, but that gives them no reason to come back to your website. Once they know what you do, why should they come back to your website? Why should they care? And more importantly, what have you done to position yourself above and beyond other staffing firms? So you know the competitor down the street is telling people when they come to their website that, hey, I do temporary staffing, I do temp to hire, I do direct hire. I'm the best at locating talent. We provide the best customer service. Okay, they're all saying that same thing. So what can you do a little bit differently? Okay, Innovero study found that what your clients and prospects really want, above and beyond just the basics, what do you do, what can you offer me? They want industry-specific staffing trends. Okay, so they want to know what's going on in the workforce, in the specific industry that they serve. They want current salary information. It's one of the biggest pain points I hear all the time. We don't know exactly if we're paying people the right wage. We don't know if we're earning the right wage. It is very compelling and popular content. And in a little bit here, I'll show you how to gather that data very easily. They're looking for quarterly hiring trends, but not just general information. They're looking for local, specific information. Again, I'll share some tips on where to get this information and how to present this information to your prospects and your clients. Job candidates are looking for hiring trends, so they want to know what positions out there are going to be most sought after. Maybe people in college right now are looking for careers that are going to have the most opportunity in 2 or 3 years. You can present this information and build a great candidate pool. And last but not least, they're looking at white papers and best practices. A great example of this is the Robert Half website. You're all familiar with that, I'm sure. They're very good at developing white papers and thought leadership articles. I'm going to tell you that it's not hard to do. You just need to know where to get the information and how to present the information. You can all be doing very similar things on a local or regional level or on an industry level, and you can compete. You can position yourself as an expert, and you can get out of the commodity zone. Okay, so hopefully you've kind of seen the light. You understand what you can do with a blog. You understand why people blog. So I want to dig deeper into how you can apply this to your staffing and recruiting firm. So what exactly can you do locally to provide this type of information? So first and foremost, let's start off with how you attract clients. Okay, we're all out there looking for lead generation. We're all used to kind of picking up the phone, asking for leads, asking for who's hiring. There's some other things that you can be doing to help supplement this and help build more inbound calls and inbound traffic. So right now, to attract clients, your clients right now are looking for answers and solutions. They're looking for advice on how to take on some of the biggest challenges they're facing right now. First and foremost, healthcare reform. We all know that it's a big question mark right now, but there's certain information out there that you can present. There's information that you can get from ASA, the American Staffing Association, to help educate your clients. Okay, they have some great information. You can look at staffing industry analysts for some great information. Okay, there are some great resources out there that you can use as a staffing firm to present to your clients and educate them on what healthcare reform really means to their business, how it impacts their employees, how it impacts their bottom line, and what they need to do right now to prepare for healthcare reform. You can share tips on how to do more with less. This ties right into a staffing firm's value proposition. You have a great utility for doing more with less. You can supply temporary staff to help make full-time staff more profitable, more productive. Tell that story. A blog is a great forum to do this in. Share case studies. So if you have a client that you've solved a very specific or unique challenge for, share that. Get that story out. Okay? People want to find out how other companies are addressing challenges, how they're overcoming their biggest problems. People want to know what their competitors are doing. Share these case studies. You don't have to use your client's name. You can be more general about it, but share what the problem was, what your solution was to the problem, and then what the end result was. People eat that up. And as I mentioned earlier, current salary information is great. Go to Indeed.com. Look at your existing database. You have a collection of great salary information. You have job orders. You know what your clients are paying for talent. Use this information to present a general or very specific salary data for the types of positions that you recruit for and that you place people in. And then last but not least, hiring managers are always looking for tips on how to retain their best talent. They're looking for HR forms. They're looking for advice. They're looking at how to more effectively interview people. You have this knowledge in your head. Now you just need to get it somewhere where everyone else can look at it and consider you a thought leader. Blog is the perfect spot to do this in. Okay, when we're talking about where to go to get topics, where to go out to get ideas on content for clients, start with forums. HR.com is a great place. HR professionals are going there. They're asking questions. It's a great place to brainstorm ideas for content. And you know, if you do a quick search, you'll find people are looking for pre-interview assessments, employee orientation, how to interview people internally. They're looking for welfare, unemployment practices, recruiting best tips. So they're looking for a wealth of information. You can come here and develop a content strategy just by looking at the questions and discussions in these forums. And you all have some great answers to these questions and discussions, and I'm sure that your clients and your candidates would really appreciate this information. Okay, so let's refocus here a little bit and talk about recruiting and how to attract candidates. And I'm sure you all don't just want to attract a ton of candidates, you want to attract the right candidates. Okay, so what can you do to attract the right candidates? You can start to think about what information they're out there searching for. I've mentioned salary a few times, but get specific. Be specific about the level of position. Be specific about geographic area. And again, Indeed.com is a great source for this salary information. It's easy to find. People are looking for how to better perform in interviews. You have these tips. People are looking for industry-specific content. People love seeing their name in lights. So if you have an Employee of the Month or Employee of the Week program within your company, highlight that on your company blog. Highlight that on your social media networks. People love and eat this information up. They like to see their name in lights. They share it with their friends. It's a great way to get your company name in front of a much wider audience and increase referrals. And then last on this list that I want to highlight is jobs. Jobs make great content for your blog. Most of you out there probably have a job board on your site. If you don't, you need one because it's, #1, the most popular candidate feature on your site. But if you do have a job board on your site right now, chances are that the search engines probably aren't seeing those jobs as part of your site. So most of the third-party job boards out there are hosted somewhere else. So when you look at the URL of your job board, if it isn't on your domain, so it isn't, for example, xyzstaffing.com/jobs. If there's some other company's name there, it's most likely that the search engine isn't seeing all of that great job content. Okay, now I'm not saying to get rid of your job board. It's still extremely valuable. But what I am saying is you may want to replicate some of the data on that job board somewhere else on your site that is part of your website so that you do get that great search engine value. Great place to do that is your blog. So I wouldn't do this with every job that you're looking to recruit for, but what I would do is take some of those jobs, turn them into blog posts. I have an example of this in a few slides here, but just by doing that, you're able to attract and recruit a lot of people that are looking for that specific type of position. All right, so a few places to get information. One, the BLS, great source of general salary data. You can get regional information. You can drill down on specific industries and occupations. So this is a great free source of information. Use it. Okay, I mentioned a few times how important blogging is to search engine optimization. I've been a student of SEO, search engine optimization, for 8-10 years now. The single biggest driver of traffic that I have found in all those years is blogging. So when we talk about search engine optimization, what I'm really getting at is getting the right traffic to your site, getting your website in front of as many prospects and as many good candidates as possible, and getting them to your site where they can take action. A blog will help you do this. Right now, I'm working with probably about 100 staffing and recruiting firms on their blogging efforts. And I would say on average that after, say, 6 to 8 months, we see an increase of between 200% and 300% search traffic in just that little amount of time. So it is single-handedly the fastest and best way to drive traffic to your website. And why is that? One of the big reasons is that Google last year changed their algorithm a few times. And what I mean by that is they changed the way that they rank websites. So what they're looking at now, they're looking for fresh content. They're looking for sites that update their website frequently. You have to get away from that brochureware website where you create your website once, you leave it for 4 or 5 years, and you're fine. That doesn't work anymore. You need a plan to add good content to your site. They're displaying fresh content more frequently. So Google is out there indexing your site more frequently. Okay, the bots come to your site and they're looking for new content. If your site doesn't have good new content, they're going to come back there less frequently and less frequently. On the flip side, if your website has a lot of good, fresh content, that's going to send a signal to Google and say, hey, you know what, this site updates their website regularly. We need to spend a little bit more time on this site. We need to go back there more frequently. We need to look at what new content is there because we probably want to include that in the rankings. And that's driving traffic. So I've seen some clients in which we put a blog post up, and within 20 or 30 minutes, it's already being indexed by Google and already appearing in search results. It is extremely fast and extremely powerful. And finally, the changes that Google recently made, they affected 35% of all Google search results. And what that means is last year, beginning of the year, if your site ranked well for a specific keyword term, there's a good chance that if you haven't done anything since, you may not rank well anymore. So Google's changes have made adding fresh content a must if you want to stay atop the search rankings. All right, so a blog, I mentioned it's a great tool. Why is it a great tool? It gives you an easy way to add content to your site. You no longer have to be a website programmer. You no longer have to create and program individual pages, update your navigation, change your entire site structure. A blog gives you a forum to do all that, and it does it automatically for you. I have some people that say, you know what, I'm afraid to blog because I am not computer savvy. Well, if you can open up Word, if you can open up an email and type into an email or type into Word, you can blog. It's that easy. The interface is extremely easy, and you don't have to be tech savvy. A blog helps you increase the overall number of pages in your website. And if you can think of search engine optimization, it's kind of, I guess you could think of it as a raffle or a contest. So if you were to go to a 50-50 raffle, you have a much better chance of winning the more tickets you buy. So the more tickets you have in your hand, the more chances or more opportunity you have to win that prize. SEO is kind of the same thing. So the more pages you have on your site, the more tickets you have in your hand. Okay, so as you continue to add more and more pages on your site, each one of those pages gives you the opportunity to win in search results, to have your page show up in search results. So as you continue to add new and new pages, you go from maybe 5 pages in your site. A month later, you have 20. A year later, you have 300. Okay, that gives you 300 chances to rank in search results as opposed to just 5. Okay, blog allows you to add a great deal of content with, I don't want to say minimal effort because there is a lot of effort there, but it is the easiest way to build your library of good content that can rank well. And I mentioned earlier, it attracts the attention of search engines. As you update your site more frequently, you have more chance of ranking well. The search engine bots visit your site more frequently. You begin to get indexed more quickly. It's a great opportunity to increase visibility. And last but not least, blogs allow you to mix in specific keywords into key areas. We'll dig deeper into this now. So overall, high-level picture of SEO. There's really kind of 5 key components. Right at the center is keywords. Okay, if you're not focused on the proper keywords, if you're not focused on the right keywords, you can have the best site in the world, but if nobody's searching for those terms, you're not going to get any traffic. Okay, so you need to focus on the right keywords. If you need help on keywords, we've done some great webinars on search engine optimization that give you some tips on keywords. You can visit our library at Lunch with Haley of past recordings to see those. Or if you have any questions, reach out to me afterwards. I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Okay, but other elements that we want to look at in SEO. Metadata, that's the code behind your site. Okay, I'll show you how to control metadata in your blog posts in a minute. We're looking at inbound links. What other websites out there are linking to you? When you think about inbound links, you need to give other sites a reason to link back to you. Okay, no site out there is going to just link back to your services. It's not exciting content. Okay, but they might link back to a great post you did on interview questions that you have to ask. They may link back to a local salary data. So if you create compelling content that people want to share, that people want to give to their audience, it's a great way to build inbound links. The URL of your website. Okay, so your URL is xyzstaffing.com. Okay, / something. You want to mix in keywords into that URL. We'll show you how to do that. And then at the top, content. And we've already talked about how important good content is to the search engines. Okay, so the great thing about a blog is that it lets you control all of these areas. Lets you touch every area of SEO. What I want to dig into a little bit is the anatomy of a blog post. So talk about each of these key components that affect your SEO rankings. So first and foremost is page title. Okay, this is part of your metadata. I'll show you where the page title is. We'll look at your URL, your blog title, and your content. You want to include keywords there. You want to include keywords and links. And last but not least, we'll talk about what tags are and how you can use tags to increase the number of pages in your site. So first and foremost, the page title. The page title is something that really isn't visible to too many people. It appears in that top blue bar of your internet browser. Okay, but what it's important for is Google looks at this page title and it says, okay, this is what this particular page in the website is about. Okay, it tells Google and the other search engines that you should rank well for a specific term. Now, of course, you have to support this with content in your post, but this is one of the factors Google and Bing look at. So you want to make sure that you include keywords in this post. And in the example here, this is one of those top jobs posts that I mentioned earlier. So we're including keywords here: outpatient internal medicine physician, and then we're also including a geography, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, so we're not just broad. We're not just looking for physicians nationwide. We're looking specifically for physicians in Fort Lauderdale. It's a great way to help improve your ranking when somebody's looking for a specific type of job. So make sure you put keywords in your page titles. Next, your URL. You want to make sure that you mix in keywords. And again, I'm using the same post here. You want to make sure that you mix good keywords into your URLs. Right in your blog platform, if you use WordPress, right below where you enter your title for the blog, it lets you control your URL. can have a big impact on rankings. Again, Google's looking at your URL, it's looking at your page title, your metadata, and it's looking at the content on your site to determine if you want to rank well for a specific term. Okay, when thinking about keywords too, don't think about how you describe your services. So you probably don't want to describe your service as a strategic contingent labor management firm. Nobody's really searching for that. What they are searching for is probably temp help in your city. Okay, so use your terminology, or I'm sorry, use their terminology, not your terminology. Okay, think about how people are searching for the services you offer. Mix those keywords into all of these key areas. Okay, your blog title and your content. You want to make sure that you mix in keywords here. And I just caution you, don't write for the search engines. Okay, don't try to stuff in keywords in throughout your post. Your reader's not going to appreciate it, and there's a chance the search engine will recognize that. So instead, write for the reader first, and then go back in and see where it makes sense to maybe add in some keywords. But if you can add in keywords, do it in the headline and do it in the body copy of the post. And you see in this particular example, we're using a few different types of keywords. Okay, links. Within your blog post, you have the opportunity to provide a link. So you can link to other areas of your website, and I suggest doing this. What linking does is it passes what they call link authority to another page or another section. So if you're linking to another page in your site and you're using specific keywords in that link, like physician jobs in South Florida, the page that you're linking to gets a little kind of thumbs up from Google. It says, this page that I'm linking to is about physician jobs in South Florida. So when you're ranking websites out there on the keyword term physician jobs in South Florida, this is almost like giving that page of your site a vote. So again, when it makes sense, include 2 or 3 links in your blog post to other sections of your site, but don't just say click here and have that be the link. Use keywords in your link. Okay, it's going to pass link authority, and it's going to signal to Google that this page should rank for that keyword. Now, I want to caution you, this isn't going to guarantee rankings. This is just one of those elements that helps improve the likelihood that you'll rank for a specific term. Okay, the last thing I want to point out in this section is tags. At the bottom of your post, you have the ability to add tags. Okay, it's a way to categorize information. When the reader gets to the end of the post, if they want to see similar types of articles on content, they can click on one of these tags. I suggest including tags that relate to the specific post topic, obviously, but then also include tags that relate to keywords you want to rank well for. And in this case, you'll see we've used tags like best places to practice medicine in Florida. What this is doing is creating a page on your website that has the SEO components, the page title, URL, of best places to practice medicine in Florida. Let me show you an example of what I mean. This one post that we did, we created a post for this outpatient internal medicine physician job. Okay, it actually created 7 different pages or 7 opportunities to rank in search results, and it did that by including the tags at the bottom of the post. So every tag we included at the bottom created a new page on the site that had that tag in the URL and had that tag in the page title. So this one post created 7 new pages on the site that were all optimized for different things. So it's a great opportunity to build a wealth of information and a variety of different keywords. And I just had a question come in. How might a candidate or client's search settings impact your SEO? Okay, that's a great question. Within Google, people can update some of their settings. So Google and the other search engines are looking at different ways to make their search engines more relevant. One of the things that Google is doing right now is if you're logged into Google, it may give you different search results than if you're not logged into Google. So what they're trying to do is look at cues like who you're connected with in Google+. They're looking at things like who you're connected with on other social networks. And all of that is kind of going into their personalized search rankings. So I don't want to get too far off topic here, but the more you do in social media, the more people you get to like you, the more connections you make, the more active you are in Google+. Google Plus's social network, the better chance you'll have to rank well when somebody is logged into Google and they're getting served up a personal search result. So long story short, it's becoming more important. I would still focus on getting great content, but don't forget to build your social network audience. So sorry to get off topic there, but I thought it was a good question. Thank you. Okay, so you've created this great content. Hopefully we've started attracting some good prospects, some good candidates. What's next? What should you be doing once you have this great content? Blogging is kind of the starting point, but it's a great starting point. It helps you do a lot of other marketing activities much more efficiently and effectively. So once you have good content housed on your blog, it's outstanding. It's an outstanding source of content for an email newsletter. So don't just rely on search engines and blog traffic to get people to your site. Push this content out to them through email newsletters. You can connect with local business editors and say, you know what, I've got this great source of local employment data. Why don't you use this for news stories? Push that content out to editors, out to writers. It's a great way to position yourself as an expert. If you get published in the local newspaper, it is great credibility. You can look at trade association newsletters, LinkedIn groups. This is a great place to share your content. And at Haley, we've been doing this. We take our blog content, we push it out to groups within LinkedIn. We're not trying to sell anything. We're sharing good, relevant content that we think those audiences would find valuable. Okay? It's a longer-term relationship marketing approach. We feel that if we share good, compelling content that people find value in, when they do have a need, hopefully we're the ones that they call. The same principle holds true for you. If you're sharing good local workforce information, when those people do have a need, you're top of mind. You're the first company that comes to mind, and it gets you out of that vendor status where you're competing on markups and price and positions you as an expert. So LinkedIn groups are a great place to share information. Social bookmarking sites like Dig Delicious, StumbleUpon are good. I would say, you know, if you're looking at where to spend your time most effectively, look at email newsletters, look at